Christ, Shalom. Giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash. Double honors to the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, beginning with the 144,000 and the rest of the men and women and children out of the 12 tribes whom Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai will ultimately have mercy upon. This is your brother Matazabath from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. And this is going to be a news and prophecy update as of May 2025 when this article was released. This is from End Time Headlines. And it reads, the UK suspends free trade talks with Israel and announces sanctions. All right. So this is pretty big because with everybody turning their backs, all right, on Israel, we know that the prophecy mentioned in Jeremiah, all right, the 49th chapter where it talks about the least of the flock shall draw them out, all right, Amalek, all right, which are those individuals that are over there in the Holy Land, they're going to pull America into this war, all right, and with the UK suspending free trade talks with Israel, that's going to set up problems, as you can plainly see down the road between them and America, because they're also allies with one another. And we know that the scriptures also says that thou shall be, thy mother shall be, I think roughly paraphrasing, confounded of thee. Let's start off with that real quick. Let's get, let me see here. Salakia, let's get Jeremiah, I think it's 50. And let me see here. Give me 1 second. If it's not 50, it's probably 51. Let's try 51. It's been a minute since I brought this out. All right, let me type it in. Thy mother. Let's see. No, thy mother. I know it's in Jeremiah. Okay, hold on. Salakia. Yeah, Jeremiah 50 and 12. All right, Salakia, Jeremiah 50 and 12, it says, your mother shall be sore confounded. And who's the mother in this context? It's speaking about Great Britain, because America came out of Great Britain. So it says, your mother shall be sore confounded. She that bare you shall be ashamed. Behold, the hindermost of the nations shall be a wilderness and a dry land and a desert. And that's talking about all of America. All right. From Hawaii. All right. All the way down to Florida. All right. It's going to be in flames. Okay. So the UK, all right, they already ashamed at America because of, what America is currently doing and its situation with, the Ukraine. All right. Also turning their backs and trying to have peaceful talks with Putin, which France and the UK, they solely disagree with that. All right, this is the reason why they said that they needed to have a new leader for the new world, meaning a new world order. All right, but nevertheless, let's get into this article real quick. It says the British government has halted free trade negotiations with Israel and announced new sanctions against Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank, and a sharp escalation of diplomatic pressure following Israel's renewed military offensive in Gaza. The decision, unveiled Tuesday, came just hours after British Prime Minister Keir Starmer vowed concrete actions if Israel failed to halt its campaign to ease restrictions on humanitarian aid entering Gaza. Starmer joined a growing chorus of international leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron and Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney, demanding urgent action to stem the humanitarian crisis. So right there off the bat, you can see that, all right, these Edomites are, pretty much against each other, man. All right. It's not looking good because these nations at once upon a time, they were with Israel, but now they're pulling away. All right. It says Foreign Secretary Salakia, Foreign Secretary David Lammy said that the United Kingdom could no longer proceed with trade discussions in light of what he described as egregious policies by the Israeli government in both Gaza and the West Bank. He condemned Israel's ongoing blockade of aid, the expansion of settlements, and the broader war strategy. Now, here it is. They're condemning, but yet, did you guys not do the same thing? Okay, when you robbed, pilgrimage, raped, stole, unalive, all right, to get to where you're settling now? It says history will judge them, Lammy stated. Blocking aid, expanding the war, dismissing the concerns of your friends and partners. This is indefensible and it must stop. And he just told the prophecy when he said history will judge them. Yeah, because the scripture says, let's get the book of Ecclesiastes, all right, chapter 1. And no, Salakia, I want chapter 3. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and 15. It says, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been, and the Most High Yahweh requireth that which is past. All right. And so, yes, history, as he says here in the article, will judge them. In other words, their sins. All right. Let's get that in Lamentations, because they're going to drink the cup as the Lord said they would. Lamentations 4 and 21. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall be passed through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. All right, because now they're being made bare. All right, the Lord is doing this, man. These devils are being exposed. But see, what the secretary doesn't understand, you're an Edomite as well, and you're going to join that judgment along with your brothers. All right, and it's funny he said that history we judged them, and that's the spirit, right? The Lord put the spirit on him to say that. Let's prove that. Let's get Psalms, all right, 64. And verse 8, it says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves, and all that see them shall flee away. All right. So through the spirit, that's a tell-all tell sign. So yes, history will judge them. All right. Because even the Lord said, okay, that these devils, they've done what? Let's get Micah 2 and 2. And I'll start at 1. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. All right. And they didn't just do that to us Israelites. They've been doing it to other nations. All right. You see what they're doing to the so-called Palestinian. All right. Because those Arabs, they're not the real Palestinians, man. All right. Those Ishmaelites that is over there in the land. All right. But let's continue going back to the article. So he says again, history will judge them, Lammy stated, blocking aid, expanding the war, dismissing the concerns of your friends and partners. This is indefensible and it must stop. The UK is imposing sanctions on 3 individuals, 2 illegal settler outposts, and 2 organizations linked to violence against Palestinian communities, Lammy said. He emphasized that illegal settlements are continuing to spread across the West Bank with direct support from Israeli government, and Israel responded swiftly. Foreign Ministry spokesperson Oren criticized the sanctions as unjustified and regrettable, and downplayed the impact on trade negotiations, suggesting that they were not progressing substantially with the UK regardless. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Starmer delivered some of his strongest criticism yet, calling the suffering of children in Gaza utterly intolerable in reiterating his demand for an immediate ceasefire. And he emphasized that the ongoing conflict in aid blockade cannot be morally justified, right? And see, remember, I said earlier, starting off with the lesson, that this is going to cause tension between the allies in America because Trump supported Netanyahu going over and cleansing out Gaza. And if you don't remember, he stated a month or two ago that they was going to go and give help to fund to clear all that out. And he said the people who they are getting out, which is those Palestinians, they don't need to come back there. He said, what do they need to come back here for? They have a history of, negativity, pretty much, in so many words. He supported it, right? So how do you think that's going to sit with your allies, man? All right. So you can see, this is brewing up to be a masterpiece, all right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Shah, because these things must need come to pass, man. Okay. It says Starmer's remarks follow the UK summoning of Israel's ambassador, okay, Hatavli, to the Foreign Office, where Middle East Minister Hamish condemned the 2-week blockade of humanitarian aid as cruel and indefensible. Monday's joint statement from Starmer, Macron, and Carney marked one of the most forceful rebukes by Israel's close allies since the war began. All right. And we're going to get that precept in Obadiah. All right. Because this is happening, man. All right. And it's beautiful how this is playing out. It says the trio threatened further action if Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government failed to end the offensive and lift aid restrictions. Netanyahu dismissed the coordinated criticism, calling it a huge prize for Hamas. And Starmer argued that a ceasefire is the only viable path to securing the release of dozens of hostages still held by Hamas. He also called Israel's current allowance of aid into Gaza utterly inadequate, noting that recent shipments were a mere fraction of what is needed to prevent mass starvation. This war has gone on for far too long, he said. We cannot allow the people of Gaza to starve. And while Israel permitted a limited delivery of supplies, including baby food, into Gaza on Monday, UN humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher said it amounted to a drop in the ocean. Israeli authorities reported that dozens more trucks entered on Tuesday. Initially, Israel had broad international backing for its response to October 7, 2023, and Hamas attack that left around 1,200 Israelis unalived and more than 250 kidnapped. However, global patience has waned amid reports of over 53,000 Palestinian deaths, many of them women, children, according to Gaza's health ministry, which does not distinguish between combatants and civilians. And with the humanitarian crisis deepening, international leaders like Macron have ramped up diplomatic pressure, calling for an end to hostilities and the lifting of the aid blockade. So as you can see, things ain't looking too good for Amalek, man. All right. And to close it off, let's get Obadiah 1 and 7. I'm going to start at verse 2. I'll start at 1. It says, the vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord, Yahweh, concerning Edom. We have heard a rumor from Yahweh, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised. So these, Esau is being greatly despised. All right. Including his own, his own stock. All right. Because the other Edomites, they looking at him like, what the F are you doing, man? You just effing up everything, man. Right. It says, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? And though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith Yahweh. And this roughly is likened unto the time going back to 1960 when they claimed to have went to the moon. And when they started putting up satellites, that began the process of Esau's Edom being brought down. All right. And it's not going to happen overnight, but over the last, you know, 30, 40 plus years, his kingdom has been coming down more and more. All right. Because around that time, during the time when they was racing against Russia to go to space in the 60s, that's when he was at his height. All right. That's when he was in his prime, to say the least. But now his kingdom is decaying right before our very eyes. It says, verse 5, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? And if the grape gatherers came to thee, would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out? How are his hidden things sought up? All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. And they that eat thy bread have laid their wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. And that's Esau, man. Because even your own allies are going to come against you, man. All right. And we're seeing it. And like I said, this is good for us, because if U.S. allies are putting sanction on them, that's going to cause some friction between U.S. and its own allies, man. OK, and this is where the scripture comes into play. Revelation 17. All right. And 16, it says, in the 10 horns, which represents the beast, NATO and the EU, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore is America, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's talking about thermonuclear destruction. Because, see, America ain't just got to worry about the BRICS nations and Russia and them, but they got to worry about their own allies turning against them. This is prophecy, right? But see, let's get Habakkuk. We'll close it out here because I didn't want to make this too long, but I just wanted to get straight to the point. Habakkuk 2 and 5, because these devils, they just, they taking over the strip, and they're trying to push out Ishmael. It says in Elam, because Elam is there too as well. Habakkuk 2 and 5, yea, also because he transgressed by wine. He is a proud man, neither keep it at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death. OK, because everything this man touches or whatever, all right, it's just death, man. And look what he's doing over there in the Holy Land, man. Calling it ethnic cleansing. It says, and cannot be satisfied, but gathered unto him all nations, and heaping unto him all people. All right. As a matter of fact, when you get Isaiah 26, the scripture says, let me see here. Or is it Isaiah? Hold on. Let me see here. Yeah, Isaiah 26 and 10, it says, let favor be showed to the wicked. Who is the wicked? Malachi 1 and 4, Esau, Edom. Yet will he not learn righteousness? All right. That's why they said this war has been going on since 2023. And yet it's like you don't even want peace. But even when it was even at a period of time when Hamas said that they were willing to negotiate and stop ceasefire, what did Israel do? When they were supposed to have the negotiation talks, they ended up dropping bombs on them that very same evening, man. So they ain't doing this we know what time it is, man. All right. This is the devil that the Bible speaks of, man. So let me read this again. Isaiah 26 and 10. It says, let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. And in the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh. He's in the land of uprightness, which is the Holy Land. And look how he's dealing with the Ishmaelites that's over there, man, pushing out the so-called Palestinians, man. And see, Esau doesn't understand. You have a lot of blood on your hands, man. And what did the Lord say about that? Ezekiel 36 and actually 35, right? Because it says here, Ezekiel 35 and 5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, Sit thou has not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So you're going to get a recompense right back to you, not only for what you've done to us mainly, but also what you're doing to the other nations round about you, man. And this is why the Lord is going to rip that rug from right up under you, man. That's why the scripture says, sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Because America, all right, they've been supporting Israel since 1948, when it was illegally established by the Balfour Declaration. All right. So guess what? When you get Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, both America and Israel is going to be destroyed together. You see? So that's pretty much all I wanted to touch on within this article. The prophecy it's all about prophecy, man. These are some beautiful times that we're in. And once again, I pray that this lesson was indeed edifying. And I want to give all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kodash, and double honors to the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutation up to the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David, and so on to the next, Lord's will. Shalom.